So what is going on, everybody? Fernando Silva here with another video, and before we get started, if you guys watched my last video, you guys know that I did a new icon set for iPads and iPhones in a bunch of different colors, so I'll link that first link in the description below if you guys want to check that out and support the channel a little bit. But for this video, we're going to be talking about my M1 MacBook Air desk setup, right? My productivity, get work done setup right behind me, and I'm going to walk you guys through pretty much every item that I have on here and what the purpose of each item is, to really kind of hone in on exactly why I have everything, because everything has a purpose on the desk, whether it is for aesthetics or for productivity, right? But let's hop right into it and get started with this video, which is the M1 MacBook Air desk setup. And it's honestly relatively cheap too, so keep that in mind. Let's go. So with any desk setup, obviously you need to put your stuff on a desk, right? Whether it's a table or something along those lines. And I've had this autonomous desk for about a year and a half, pretty much since I started the channel, and it has been my only standing and sitting desk ever, right? This is the only real experience that I've had with a motorized standing desk, and I don't think I'll ever go back to a regular desk. I like the versatility, I like being able to move it up and down. Yes, cable management is a little bit more difficult because you can't just like put a backdrop, you know, behind the desk like those old school classic desks. But all in all, I love the autonomous desk. I love how it can easily move up and down. I got 4 programmable buttons that I can kind of change up. So I have a sit and a stand one, and then my wife actually has a sit and a stand one as well. So you can really kind of share it, and it's made to kind of be, you know, your office desk setup for home, especially, right? And they're very reasonably priced, especially for the quality that you get. I believe these are around $500 for this exact model, and for that price, especially for the quality that you're getting, it's really, really outstanding. So autonomous is my standing desk of choice. And then there's another company actually called FlexiSpot, which is probably, I want to say, you know, 2/3 of the price. So you can probably get a standing motorized desk for around $250, $300. Now the quality isn't as good as autonomous, but if you're looking for a standing desk and all you want is function, FlexiSpot is a good way to go if you're not really worried about aesthetics and how it looks. But those are my 2 cents when it comes to sitting and standing desk for the office. And then of course, since this is an M1 MacBook Air setup, let's start with that machine. So I have the entry-level base model. So we got 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, we have the M1 processor, and that's with the MacBook Air. And again, got it to the education store, so I got $100 off. And somebody did comment that now they're providing AirPods instead of doing the $100 off, so maybe that's what they're doing this time, and that always changes. So, you know, stay on the lookout for refurbished items and then also education store items, because there's usually either an added item when you purchase through the education store or some sort of discount. So always keep that in mind whenever you're purchasing a new Apple product, especially if it's a computer or an iPhone or an iPad. So that is the MacBook Air that I'm rolling with. Again, 8 GB RAM. I thought about going 16, but at the same time, I heard such amazing things with it and what I use it for. You know, I don't think I would need more than 8 GB RAM, and so far I have not needed more than that 8 GB RAM, and I'm extremely happy with what the M1 MacBook has been able to do, especially coming from a 2020 i5 MacBook, which I bought in June of 2020. That computer, it was terrible compared to this $800 or $900 MacBook Air. So keep that in mind as well. And then the MacBook Air is actually sitting on a vertical stand, and the reason I have it that way is to kind of release clutter on the desk. I like to have it as minimal as possible. And that stand is by Satechi, and it's very, very quality, fits that Apple aesthetic with the aluminum, the space gray, and also it fits multiple laptops. So it's not just dedicated to Apple computers, it's not just dedicated to a MacBook Air, because you can kind of screw it and kind of make it go as big as you want. Or if you have a 17-inch gaming computer that's as thick as a brick, it'll fit on there even with that. So it's always good to have that versatility when it comes to your products and your items that you have there. So that fits, yes, it fits my MacBook Air, but it can fit any other computer that I want. And if we continue on from left to right in clear Apple fashion, as I mentioned in my last video, next to that is my Air Quad charger by Pitaka. So that charger actually charges a few of my devices. I have 2 wireless charging pads on there, so I can charge my iPhone and I can charge my AirPods Pro. And then there's also a Apple certified Apple Watch charger that's built into it, so you don't have to like wire through your own Apple charger, because that is the absolute worst. And then there's also a lightning cable built into it, which is nice to have as well if you need to charge another iPhone or maybe an iPad that isn't an iPad Pro. So that's always good to have. So I can charge up to 4 different devices with that one charger. And that's kind of, it stays there, it's very sturdy, it's, you know, it's got some heft to it, so it feels quality, and it's by Pitaka. So you know Pitaka always has great quality materials, and so far it's been working well, and I've had that for at least 6 months now at this point. And then if we continue, I have my LG 29-inch ultra-wide monitor that's sitting on a stand that I got from Etsy. Now I'm going to link that Etsy store below, but keep in mind that it did take around 70 days for me to get it. I was a little bit upset, but I did order it during prime time quarantine, so benefit of the doubt, obviously, and it was being shipped from overseas. So I didn't get upset, I didn't ask for a refund, nothing like that. I just kind of was patient, and eventually it showed up. It is a really nice stand, but I'm not going to recommend people wait 70 days for a stand when they can get something else. But overall, it's a very nice stand, and I like how it fits with this desk setup. Because underneath that, I actually hide a couple of things, right? I hide my USB-C/Thunderbolt 3 dock, and that is by Bridge. It's called the Stone 2. And what that is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Thunderbolt 3 dock that works with your iPad, it works with your computer, it works with your MacBook Air. So that's how I use it. I connect one cable to my MacBook Air, and then that connects to my monitor, to another power source, and anything else that I have on there. And it has 3 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, an HDMI, and an Ethernet. So it's everything that I would need. And I know with the MacBook Air, dual screen compatibility is a little bit iffy. You need to go through a bunch of different routes. So the fact that this only has one HDMI cable or one HDMI port is totally fine with me. And I have the ultra wide, so it's as if I have 2 smaller screens kind of next to each other. So that is the Stone 2 by Bridge, and it's the same company that makes the iPad keyboards with the trackpad. And overall, it's extremely quality. I haven't had it fail me a single time. Even when I knock cables and stuff, it doesn't kind of glitch out or disconnect itself, which I've had with other third-party ones, you know, from like Chinese brands or Amazon brands, where it kind of dies out on you after a little while. So that is my USB-C hub of choice. And then the next thing that I have is actually by Tautronics, and it's this light stand that it's not built to go over the desktop, or it's not built to go over the monitor, but it kind of fit perfectly well with the height and, you know, how much you can actually move it around. So what I did is I tucked the bottom of it, so the base of it is actually tucked underneath where that stand is, and then the actual arm of the light goes high enough that it can go perfectly over the actual monitor, and this is what we come up with. And I love that lamp. You know, it has a bunch of different light settings. I can dim it, I can change it to a more red color, more orange color. It's got a bunch of different angles that I can put the actual arm of the light to, so it fits perfectly, and if I want to move it around, it's easy to move around. So always recommend having some sort of nice light source, so when you are working and it's nighttime, you have something and you're not squinting and getting a headache by trying to see exactly what you're doing. So if I move in front of the monitor, I have my Satechi pad. So that's my XL desk mat. So it's very quality, made out of leather. It's got the minimal branding on it, and I got it in that blue colorway. And then sitting on top of that is my MX Anywhere S2, which everybody knows is my tried and true mouse, and it's my recommendation. I mean, I would recommend the Anywhere S3 now because it's USB-C compatible, but I have the S2 and I've never had a single issue with it. And then next to that is actually the compact Magic Keyboard by Apple, and I really, really like it. You know, I switched back to it because it has that F3 option to be able to kind of move all of your items and all of your windows apart, kind of when you swipe up when you're using the trackpad. So the fact that it has that button has been awesome. So, you know, I know it's a little bit expensive, but Apple makes quality products, and lo and behold, their own accessories work pretty well with their products. So that is the one thing that I'll leave you guys with. And then if we continue on to the right of the desk, you see that I got my new addition, the HomePod Mini. The HomePod Mini has been wonderful. Now, I don't really use it as a smart speaker. I don't use it as an assistant, really. It's purely there as a nice speaker for my desk, because I did not have any speakers whatsoever, so the sound would just come out of my closed MacBook Air over here, which is kind of annoying. So the HomePod Mini works extremely well as a speaker. I am going to get a second one to get the stereo sound going, but overall, I'm so impressed with the sound quality, so impressed with how quickly it connects. And my only wish was that I can kind of carry it, and I wish I had a portable battery attached to it so I can kind of play it wherever I am, because I wish I could just pick it up and go. Unfortunately, you're kind of plugged into the wall at all times, so it is what it is at that point. But for a speaker, yes, it's $100 or $120 depending on when you get it. You know, could you get something a little bit better that sounds a little bit better from somewhere else? Maybe, but then you don't get all that awesome integration from the Apple ecosystem, like being able to hand it off from your phone or your iPad or your computer. So that is my speaker of choice for right now, at least. And then next to that, we have my iPad Pro. I'm still rocking a 2018 iPad Pro with 512 gigabytes of storage. There is no data on that one, but it's sitting on the Magic Keyboard, and that's where it usually always sits. Now, sometimes I use it as a secondary monitor if I really, really need it, but most of the time I use it when I need other information at a glance that I'm actually working with on the computer itself, because Sidecar works pretty well. I do recommend it, but I don't recommend it if you're using a lot of movement, right? If you're keeping something static on your screen, then you're good to go. But if you're doing a lot of stuff on the secondary Sidecar screen on the iPad Pro, sometimes it gets a little glitchy, at least with my experience, and it could be just my Wi-Fi connectivity, but that's been my experience with Sidecar. So as long as I have some static material, then I'll Sidecar it, but if not, I'll just use the actual iPad OS system to get some information that I need. And then that new, copy and paste feature where I copy from my iPad and then paste on the MacBook or paste on the iPhone is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, and the integration you don't get anywhere else. So I love that. It's like the simple things that Apple makes that makes your life just that much easier. But then you have the other thing where the auto switching of the AirPods has been a nightmare. In the beginning, it was cool, but now whenever I'm FaceTiming somebody, or then I get a phone call, or if I'm listening to music and then somebody calls me, they get confused, and it's been it's been a nightmare with the auto switching on the AirPods Pro. So if somebody has a solution on how to kind of fix that or turn off that feature, please do let me know in the comments below. And then on the iPad itself, I obviously got the D-brand scan on the back, and then I got channel sponsor Paperlike on the front. Always stay protected. Make sure to get a screen protector when you have an iPad. The iPad screen is the way you interact with it, all the time, whether it is with a finger or an Apple Pencil or whatever the case may be. Make sure your screen is protected because A, it'll increase resale value, and B, it'll just be more comfortable to actually take notes on, right? So keep that in mind when you guys are purchasing your iPads. Always have a screen protector, and Paperlike is the way to go in my opinion. And then the last thing that I have actually tucked away behind the iPad Pro is a little stand, which I usually do for voiceovers. So that's actually where I screw on my microphone, and that's where I do my voiceovers for when I'm not doing these A-roll shots. And that's the stand that I use. It came as part of this vlogging starter kit, which brought a little tripod, an extender, a microphone, and everything you needed to do to use your smartphone as your vlogging camera and make your life as easy as possible. So that's from that little addition, and I'll link that below for anybody that's looking to start a vlogging channel or any channel for that matter, but using an iPhone or any other smartphone as a main camera, because that's what I'm doing, and we hit 20,000 subscribers by just using an iPhone as a main camera. So thank you. But that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys took some inspiration from some of the items that I have, the desk that I have, the computer, the iPad, just to sprinkle something new onto your desk setups. And leave some comments below of exactly what you guys have, if you would change something out from what I have for something better, or if there's something that you can't live without that you have that maybe I haven't even come close to mentioning. But like I said, that's going to do for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out that icon pack down below. It helps support the channel, and it's an awesome one. And there's you get a lot out of it for $5. But that's going to do it. Like I said, until next time.